Welcome back to Everyday Eats with Michelle. Today we're going to try something a little different, a little experiment. We're going to take your regular old twice-baked potatoes and we're going to play with a few different flavor combinations. We'll do a turkey dinner-inspired potato, a shepherd's pie, and even a buffalo chicken. Now I'm hoping these to come out as tasty as I've imagined them in my mind, but we'll just have to wait and see. First thing you'll need are some russet potatoes. Try to get them all around the same size for a more even cooking experience. I've got one for each filling. Next up, you're going to need to poke some holes. So take a fork, 2 pokes per side, 8 pokes per potato. You want to prevent that potato from exploding in your oven. Now we'll drizzle them with some olive oil. Get that rubbed in. It's going to help our skin get nice and crispy, especially for those of you who like to eat the skin later. And then we'll take some salt and we'll sprinkle that down over all sides of our potato. Again, we're trying to add some flavor. Those are now going to go in a 350-degree oven right on the rack for about an hour. Might take a little more, a little less, depending upon the size of your potatoes. Now we've got our fillings. Medium skillet over medium-high heat. We're going to start with that shepherd's pie filling. So I've got a little bit of onion and garlic, a little bit of diced carrot. I don't have measurements for this because I'm just kind of trying to make enough for one potato. I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll probably have leftovers. Totally fine. We're going to need the onions and carrots to soften, so it's probably going to take about 7 to 10 minutes. We'll put that on the stove, and we're going to move on to filling number 2. Again, medium skillet, medium-high heat. We're going to do our Thanksgiving dinner-inspired potato. So I've got a little bit of turkey breast. You could use leftover turkey from your Thanksgiving dinner. Thanksgiving technically hasn't happened yet when I made this video, so I just used a little bit of fresh turkey. Cut it up into cubes-ish, and we'll get that distributed through our oil, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. This is probably going to take a few minutes to cook, so we're going to pull this off the heat and put it on the stove as well. It's looking pretty good already though. Now we're going to move on to filling number 3. This is our buffalo chicken. So I've got about 1 small chicken breast that I've cut up into chunks. We'll add that to our skillet with a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Get that mixed in, and then we're going to move that off to the stove as well, and we're going to go back to our shepherd's pie filling. My onions and carrots have softened, they've caramelized a little bit, it's looking kind of good. Now we're going to add in our meat mixture. I've got ground beef and ground lamb just like I normally would for a shepherd's pie. I used only 1/8 of a pound of each. I originally thought it would be a 1/4 pound each, but that looked like it was going to be way too much for one potato. This still might be too much for one potato. I guess we'll just see. We'll get that nicely browned up. And now we'll start building that sauce. We've got our Worcestershire sauce, just like normal. A little bit of tomato paste. Get that all stirred in. It smells fantastic. I can't even tell you. Now we're going to add in a little bit of fresh thyme and fresh rosemary. Chop it up a little bit. Get that stirred in. A little bit of flour, because this is going to help us thicken our sauce. If you remember back to the shepherd's pie video we did a little while back. Now we're going to add in some chicken stock. You're only going to add a little bit at a time because, again, you don't want to make this too saucy. You definitely want to have sauce there, but you don't want it liquefied. So add in a little bit, stir it, add in a little more, okay? Just go with what you need. Now for the peas. I would personally add more peas in this, but since Chris and I are going to be sharing these and he's not a big fan of peas, that's why there's not that many in there. Stir that up, and this is looking pretty fantastic. We're all done. So we're going to go back to our Thanksgiving dinner inspired. Turkey's looking fantastic. Now all we need is some stuffing. Now, if you're me, I could eat stuffing for Thanksgiving and call it a day. Whatever. So we'll add our stuffing in. This is already looking like way too much filling for one potato, but that's fine. I'll just eat the leftovers probably for lunch at work one day. So we'll add in our stuffing, get that stirred up. Now we need some corn. Chris is a big fan of corn, so there's going to be a lot of corn going on here. Do what you need to do, as much or as little as you like. We'll get that all stirred up. This is looking pretty fantastic. So we'll move on to that final stuffing, buffalo chicken. I'm going to chop up some of these because they're looking kind of huge. Now, we're from the Buffalo, Western New York area. If you're from here, you know the only way to make buffalo chicken is with Frank's Red Hot. That is the only sauce you are legally allowed to use, so get yourself some Frank's Red Hot. Dump a bunch in, and now we need the blue cheese. You could buy a block of blue cheese, cut it up. I'm just going to go with crumbles. It seemed a whole lot easier. This is going to help make our sauce a little creamy, add a nice little bit of tang. So we'll add some down in there, get it stirred up. This smells utterly fantastic. You have no idea how much I want to eat this right now. So I think I'm going to give myself a little taste. Yep, this might actually be the best filling so far. I don't know. We'll wait to see what happens with the potatoes, but so far we're really good. I think it needs a little more cheese, so I'm going to add in a little bit more. I want it a little bit more creamy. The tanginess is nice, but I just want my sauce a little bit creamier. So we'll get this mixed in, and then we're going to let that reduce just a little bit. We want our sauce to thicken up just a little bit, and you'll know you're done, as we've said before, by when you drag your spatula through, it doesn't come automatically back together. Okay, our potatoes are out of the oven. Skin's nice and crispy. They've softened up. Now we need to take the lids off these suckers. So take a sharp knife and then cut around the top third, top quarter. You don't want to cut them in half. You want a deep enough boat to hold all your fillings. And make sure you cut all the way through. Okay, if you just do little shallow cuts, you're never going to be able to peel the lid off. So make sure you cut all the way through to the other side, or mostly to the other side. And then peel your lid off. Look at that. Look at that steam. This is why we're using a towel to hold it, because it's really, really hot. Okay, so now we need all that potato out. But don't forget, we got to have that lid potato too. We're not going to put the lid back on it, but I want that potato. So you're going to take your spoon and you're going to scoop out the filling. Make sure you leave enough potato attached to the sides, to the skin, that your little potato boat has some stability later. Okay, so we're going to scoop out our filling, our potato, and I'm going to put it in a bowl. We watched a video by Sam the Cooking Guy recently. He did some twice baked potatoes, and what he did was he scooped the filling out of one potato, put it directly into the filling for that potato, mixed it all up, and put it back in the potato. Totally fine. For me, twice baked potatoes have always meant you take the potato out, you mash them up so it's nice and creamy, put it back in, shove it in the oven with some cheese, and get everything all nice and crispy. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to take the potato out of all of our potatoes, put it in a bowl, mash it up, and then what we're probably going to do is just divide our potato into thirds, one for each boat. Look at that. They came out really nice. Nice and stable. Okay. So our potatoes. We're just building a regular old mashed potato. A little salt, a little pepper. And then we're going to add in just a little bit of butter. I've got about a tablespoon. Seemed to be good for the amount of potato that I have here. And then just a little bit of sour cream. I'm not looking to overwhelm the flavor. I'm just looking to help with the creaminess factor. So then we'll get to mashing. As per usual, you want it nice and creamy and stuck together just like that. All right, so now it's time to add our potatoes to our filling. We'll start with our buffalo chicken. And I guess if you think about it, buffalo chicken, you usually get it with fries. So adding it to mashed potatoes does not really seem that odd if you think about it. This is coming together fantastic. Everything is mashing together beautifully. This looks and smells utterly amazing. This is all done, so we're going to move on to our shepherd's pie. I definitely made too much filling, so I'm going to put about a third of it into another container, and that'll just be leftovers for another day. And then we'll add our potatoes. Again, we're doing about a third of our mixture of potatoes to each of our fillings. And if you think about it, this is kind of like you're eating your shepherd's pie like normal and just squishing everything together before you eat it. So this should turn out fantastic. This should be amazing. All right, final filling. That Thanksgiving Day inspired filling. Add our potatoes, and again, it's like you took your Thanksgiving dinner and just smushed it all together. Seemed a little dry, so we're going to add in a little bit of turkey gravy, help bind that all together. You may need to do the same because it's kind of a dry mixture to begin with. And I think the only thing left to do is start stuffing these things. Yeah, so we're going to start with our Thanksgiving Day inspired potato. And you're just going to take your filling and you're just going to fill and stuff your little potato boat as full as you can. Same thing with our shepherd's pie filling. Get it right down in there. Okay, give it a little smush. You know what I'm thinking as we're doing this? They look a little sad. I know I have leftover filling, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go back once I fill this buffalo chicken potato up. I think I'm going to go back and I'm going to add some more potato to the top, kind of mound it up over and make it look nice and full. Yeah, just like that. Because realistically, this is dinner. This is like a complete meal in and of itself. You've got your protein, you've got your vegetable, you've got your starch, all in one nice little edible package. And realistically, Chris and I are just going to share these, so this is dinner tonight. So you want to make it kind of worth it. Hopefully they taste good. They look good. They smell good. So I'm pretty sure these are going to be amazing. So we'll get these all mounted up, drop a little bit, not a big deal, just squish it on there. And finally, the Thanksgiving, this one I'm kind of definitely wanting to tear into. I've been waiting and waiting for Thanksgiving and dreaming about stuffing. Anyway, so we're going to add a little bit. We're going to top some gravy over our Thanksgiving Day potato. Give it a little bit more moisture. And then a little bit more blue cheese to our buffalo chicken. That'll get all nice and melty. If I had thought about it before, I would have saved some potato and put some on top of our shepherd's pie. Let that crisp up a little bit like a regular shepherd's pie. Didn't think about it. It's okay. All right, these go back in the oven for 15 minutes. Get everything heated up. Get them melty. And there they are. Look at how gorgeous those are. We've got our Thanksgiving dinner inspired potato, our shepherd's pie inspired potato, and finally we have our buffalo chicken twice baked potato. We'll drizzle down a little bit more turkey gravy because that's just kind of what it needs, and that's it. Give them a try. They may seem a little strange, but I'm telling you, they turned out fantastic. If you come up with any other flavor combinations, drop us a comment down below. Tell us how they turned out. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.